YouTube. Welcome back. I'm sorry that it's been so long. In the YouTube world, I guess to me it's been a couple weeks. But did a remodel in the garage. I got some siblings who have a little bit of extra money. Um, but we're converted into a living space. Um, did a remodel on it, like $3,000. It's rough, but we did most of the work though. Yeah, actually, it was contracted at 3,000. We paid 15 for parts and did all ourselves. So not too uppity, bourgeois. We're poor. We're poor. I'm poor. New place, new job. It's been crazy. Anyway, I want to talk about COVID-19. Just like the description said, there's a lot of things that have been going out. Misinformation. This administration's response to COVID, in my opinion, there's just the federal government's response. It's just terrible, terrible. We're supposed to be the richest country. We're supposed to have the best healthcare system. Everyone, all the politicians will say, "Oh, we can't do Medicare for all. We can't do Medicare for all. There's not enough money for it." But we're bleeding money for our current healthcare system that's absolute garbage. So miss me with that, right? We have the one of the highest death tolls, but we have comparative to our population size, like the numbers are ridiculous. There's countries that have way more numbers than us and less deaths. It's a complete failure in my opinion. But I want to talk about some specific talking points. They say, wear a mask, don't wear a mask. Who's right, who's wrong. Well, let's think about this for just 1 second. Even if you were wondering what the numbers are, what the facts are, think about this. And the White House has changed their tune so many times, it's ridiculous. But they were saying, "Oh, wearing a mask isn't that important. It's not that important." Trump, why aren't you wearing a mask? "Oh, wearing a mask is not that important. The evidence doesn't show that that's that important." Okay, is that why Jared Kushner's wearing a mask? Isn't that your son-in-law? Why is your Secret Service staff wearing masks? Why does your caddy have to wear a mask when he's around you? Is there a specific reason for that when the masks aren't important? This administration was saying for a long time, Kayla McNamee, whatever his newest spokesperson is, Huckabee replacement. Why? There's no reason to get for us to do testing. You just have to get tested again. That's probably the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And is there, and whether that's true or not, or whether, we should have done mass scale testing like almost, every other developed country was doing. Drive-through testing. There was, getting results in less than a week. And that's people who didn't have symptoms, because you want to identify who has symptoms, stay the hell home, or who has it, who's tested positive, and so you can stay home and stop roaming about asymptomatic and spread the virus. It's madness. But regardless of what you think of the facts, who's right, who's wrong, guess what? Everyone who's around Trump has to get tested every single day. And Trump even went on one of his press releases, or whatever he was calling his daily talks. It's like, "Oh yeah, we have tests and we get tested and we get the results back really fast." Oh, is that the case? You guys get tested. The important people, may I say, the rich people, oh, they get tested. But all the poor people who have to go back to work, who cares if they get tested? That's not important. Oh, and by the way, yeah, you guys got to get back in there and, start up the economy again. Oh, so your stocks can go back up? What was the message? What was the White House telling their staff to do? White House administration was telling their staff, work from home as much as possible. So us poor people have to go back to work, risk our lives, so your stocks can go back up. Is that what I'm getting? We're getting played, people. We're getting played. Mainstream media, forget about it, man. The Hill, TYT. Those are two things, and I'm gonna put links for both of them in the description. especially for the Hill, because I don't know if there's two organizations that call themselves the Hill, but one seemed like super biased, super weird, and I was like, this isn't the Hill that I know, and I didn't see any of the people that I see speaking on the show, so I didn't know what that was about. But yeah, these are two non-mainstream sources. TYT, I think, does a really good job. The Young Turks, uh, they're pretty intense, but and they're anti-Trump. So if you're a Trump lover, you're probably not going to like them. But if you have an open mind, I mean, they hammer Democrats as well. They've hammered this administration for sure, no question. But they've also hammered, the Democratic Party in general. Called a lot of people out, and what's happening in the Democratic Party is terrible, absolutely terrible. How they backstab Bernie, how Elizabeth Warren basically just kamikazed him, knew she couldn't win, and just ran her plane into his plane to take him out of the race. Like, absolute nonsense. Right before Super Tuesday, like, look into it. You may be able to catch some older episodes of the the Young Turks, or whatever you want to call their little old videos. Like, absolute nonsense. There were people who went on camera, on the record, from elite Democrats, super delegates, saying like, oh, if even if Bernie gets more votes than Biden, we'll just take it away from Bernie and give it to Biden, because he doesn't have the majority. He doesn't have the whatever you have to meet, like the 70%, the threshold or whatever. It's like he has the most votes. That's who America. That's who we chose. That's who the voters chose. What? And they were saying like, oh, and if he does, beat Biden and get past the threshold, we'll just vote for Trump. You'd rather vote for Trump than for Bernie Sanders. Why? Why would you say something like that? You know why? Because regardless of what Trump does, how crazy Trump might be, is, what he's doing, who doesn't approve of him, who approves of him, what he's doing to our allies, what he's doing for the look of America, and how other countries respect us and want to work with us, and regardless of any of that, guess what? They get to keep all of their money. They get to keep their corporate PACs, their super PACs, all their kickbacks they're getting. Because what did Bernie talk about? Medicare for All wasn't the thing that really got him kicked out, or really got all of the Democrats working against him. What got him in trouble, the wage gap that he was talking about for the last 40 years. That wasn't what got him in trouble. What got him in trouble, the military-industrial complex he was talking, that wasn't what got him in trouble. When he started saying, hey, we need to get big money out of politics. We need to, run with no corporate sponsorship, no billionaires, donating to my campaign, and, donating to campaigns in general. When he started talking about that, hitting those Democrats in their pocket, they were like, oh, Bernie's got to go. Nah, he's psychotic. He's like a communist, bro. Like, you can't do it. It's a money game, people. You're getting played. Get away from mainstream media. That's all corporate bought too. They hammered Bernie in the mainstream media. Biden, even though Biden was continuously gaffing, messing up, seeming like someone's old grandpa who was senile in the debates, just out of sorts. Kamala Harris on stage, black woman in the Senate. He's talking about some other woman. I don't know her name, sorry, but some other woman. Oh, I was the only black woman in the Senate, and Kamala Harris is like looking from the podium like, huh? Did you forget about me? Like, the Constitution gaffes, and then by his record, he's a known liar. He almost got he had to retire from one of his races, or what was a Senate race or whatever, because of he was gonna get hit with a plagiarism suit or a perjury suit. Just taking speeches from people that that he thought, I guess people didn't know. Famous like writers or like semi-famous writers taking their speeches and like delivering them as if they were his own, didn't quote it or anything. They're like, bro, we got the internet, bro. Like, they're not that well known, but people know him and they research. That's his speech. What? The guy's garbage, absolute garbage. I don't know how. It's terrible what's happening in this country. COVID-19. Let me get back to it real quick. I'm sorry, I got off on a crazy tangent. What are the numbers? I always ask, what are the numbers, people? What are the numbers? They say, we should open schools back up, get kids going back to school, man. The kids are depressed. Okay. How many? Are we talking about 10% of it? I'm sure some kids are finding it hard to deal with. I'm sure. I'm absolutely, no question. But what are the numbers? We talking about 10%? We talking about 20%? What are the projected death tolls with these kids going back and passing the virus around and going and give it to their parents, give it to their grandparents? What are we looking at? What are some of the projections? I don't know. Well, why would we ask those questions? I don't know why. Why would you ask those questions? That doesn't sound like a sensible question to me at all. Right now the numbers have come down. COVID's been out a lot longer than before. So before, I thought it was about 10 times deadlier than the flu. It's about 3 times at the moment. We're at 157,000 deaths. The early projections said that 200,000 would be the worst case scenario. And yeah, we're at 157 people. I mean, it's real. It's here. I'm not going to say like what policy is right and what policy is wrong, but like this uncoordinated effort by our government, absolute nonsense. Canada been giving out stimulus checks, for 2-3 months now. We barely got one out. Then they went on recess. These people getting paid $150,000 a year to not do anything during this crisis. One of the worst crises our country's ever faced. They're just like, oh, we're gonna take recess. Peace out. Make $150,000 a year. Have they worked an 8-hour day? Do they work 8-hour days every single day? 5 days a week? How many times they put in 40-hour weeks? Come on, they could burn. I always say, show me the numbers. Don't tell me that this is happening. Oh, people are dying. Show me the numbers. Show me the ratios. Show me the percentages. Democrat, Republican, whatever you think. Either one of these people in the Senate, or either a senator who's a Democrat or Republican, is making about $150,000 minimum every year. If they burned a $100 bill, they take a $100 bill out of their bank account every single day and burned it, took a lighter to it, burned the things over, they would still make twice as much as middle class America, hardworking Americans. I mean, $50,000. I mean, is that even middle class anymore? You're talking about California? That's lower class in California, brother. I mean, it's just But yeah, they'd still have $100,000 left, and you're talking about taxes get taken out. We're getting played. We're getting played. Our government is bought by corporations, man. Billionaires, they're calling the shots. And COVID-19, they're politicizing it, using it as a weapon, distraction. Democrats are blaming, Republicans, they want you to die. Republicans, they want you to, the economy to go down, because it's going to, help. This is something against Trump. It's like, what? Oh, okay, it's something against Trump. That's why the entire world is facing this pandemic, because it's all a coordinated effort by 100 countries to somehow bring Trump down. It's crazy. We live in crazy times. I want to talk about a little bit about COVID. maybe a little bit different perspective for you guys. I want to talk about Black Lives Matter next. That's coming. It's coming fast. Bye for now.